You are a dear friend of mine, and reading your story was tough for me to get through. Help us understand why Britney Spears' story, her court battle, resonates with you and what it's been like in your life.
So thank you, Stephanie. I've actually received a lot of messages from friends and family that have the exact same sentiment. And, I wrote this piece for the Times because I saw a really important piece of the conversation missing from the greater narrative regarding Britney Spears and what her story has represented. I mean, I grew up a child actress. I didn't have the same path as her necessarily, but I did have a lot of parallels about my relationship with money. And part of what made this article resonate so much, I think, is that because of my parents' investment in me and my freedom and my ability to communicate as both a weapon and a tool. And, my parents are anti-silencers. And I think for a lot of people, they've felt like Britney's not really had a place to speak her own truth. And now we've finally seen it, and it's sort of pulled a dark cover off of something that feels really painful and also feels kind of condemning to all of us who have watched her as a spectacle from the outside looking in.
But she's a 39-year-old woman being treated like a 16-year-old girl. Does that happen when your parents have complete control of your money and your career?
I think in this case, I think it definitely does. And I can't speak for Britney's, health and trajectory and what her personal experience has been like, other than I think any woman has the right to her own autonomy and ability to make choices about her money, even if that is to blow all that money up and spend it on everything. It's not really, doesn't belong to anyone else. And I think this is something that is so pervasive for women, no matter what's in their bank account, no matter what their upbringing was. There is this sense of both the control of the body and of the bank account. And she is sort of this shining example that we can all look to as someone, no matter what our finances are, no matter how we were brought up, we can look at her and say, I have experienced a version of that. I have been silenced and controlled, whether that was with my body or with the money that I was making. We've all experienced. So we're looking at that sort of through the lens of our own personal experience. And that's why I think her story is so powerful and resonating so much with people right now.
It is. I mean, for us to read that she was forced to have an IUD so she couldn't get pregnant, this is more than just your managers or your parents wanting to control your weight, making major decisions about your bodies. What was this like for you? I mean, yes, you were not forced, obviously, to have an IUD, but help us understand what this was like for you. It's more than just your mom saying, you better keep it tight. Maybe you want to lose 5. This is damaging.
Well, first of all, to be super clear, I have not experienced a fraction of the abuse that Britney Spears has experienced. I have a very deeply loving and close relationship with my parents. As I said, I think they are very much the reasons that I'm able to communicate and be as empathic as I am as a writer. What happened to Britney Spears, based on her testimony and what she has said, is a human rights violation. You can't do that to someone else's body. I don't care what you think they are capable of or what they don't understand about their position in the world. It's a cruelty beyond all measures. So I think for me, when I was looking at it, when I was writing this piece, what I wanted people to see was how complicated it is when money suddenly gets involved, especially at a young age, and especially when the reason for that money existing is because of the selling of a woman's body in the first place. She was and is a pop commodity. That is what we've loved about her. We love to jam out to her music. We love how hot she looks. We think she's amazing in all these respects. And so because of that, her money is inextricably tied to her physical self. And so there's this weird ownership that happens when suddenly the money you make and the life you live and your body belongs to the world and therefore belongs to people around you. I had a fraction of that only in the sense that my parents didn't know what to do with that money. And so they wanted to help support me in it. And it actually had nothing to do with my own feelings, had nothing to do with that necessarily. It had more to do with my understanding of what to do with money when I got older, because it had always been handled for me, handled very well and full of efficacy and care. But nonetheless, when I also got into my 30s, I didn't know what to do. I was spending it on things I didn't understand. I had a messed up relationship with it, and it took me a long time to overcome that. And, I'm 38 now. Britney's, in her late 30s as well. And she, I think, is just coming to terms with her relationship to money and her relationship to her own autonomy and seeing where that's going to take her, which is hopefully a path to freedom.